Living large, living loud, stacking paper high, chasing dreams all the way to the sky. From rags to riches in the blink of an eye, friendships in the vault where the old bonds die. Parties on rooftops, crystals in the dark, lost in the glitz till we miss the mark. Gold turned to chains, heavy on the heart, the price of a wish tearing us apart. Crew, we just hit the jackpot, stacks money taller, now we on the top of the map. But grease slid in like a police trap. Trust broke down, can't avoid that cap. Friends turn foes, plot a twist, no script. Lies and blood, bills ain't clean, they drip. Versace steering wheel, now we in for a trip. We used to be friends, but our bond just ripped. Gone. We hit, 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 we hit.
Chapter 18. Poker Faces. The following day, Tara sped over to Antiriel's house, eager to see her friend's new car, but bursting to share the shocking information she'd overheard the previous night. As she pulled up the driveway, her eyes landed on the Jeep. Where the fuck did that come from? She muttered to herself, shaking her head in disbelief. Parking her car, she quickly made her way to the front door. Antiriel, looking somewhat tense, met her at the door with a forced smile. "Good morning," Tara greeted, then immediately leaned in to whisper, "Why the fuck is the Jeep here? Are you crazy?" Antiriel shook her head, about to respond when Mary suddenly entered the room, startling both women. Tara stiffened as Mary entered, recalling their history and the tension it brought. Mary, seemingly oblivious or perhaps choosing to act that way, headed straight to making coffee. Tara decided to break the ice with some small talk. "So Mary, how have you been? How are you feeling these days?" Mary, her back to them as she prepared her coffee, gave curt, vague responses. "Fine, just taking it one day at a time." It was clear from her tone that she had no interest in the conversation, but was tolerating it out of politeness, or perhaps out of necessity. Tara decided to wrap things up. "If you haven't heard, I own a restaurant now. You and your daughter should come by if you can. Here's my card. Also, we're having a girls' night tonight. You should join us." Mary took the card without looking at Tara and said, "Girls' night, huh?" before walking away with her coffee. As she left the room, Antiriel mouthed to Tara, "We need to talk." Antiriel then turned to Tara, trying to appear casual. "Girl, let me take you on a ride in the Maybach. Come on." Once they were both settled in the luxurious car, Antiriel let out a heavy sigh. "I think Mary has her memory back," she began, recounting the harrowing incident in the driveway. "Last night, she almost got hit by the Jeep. She jumped out of the way just in time, and then she started screaming at us. But the way she looked at me, it was like she remembered everything." Tara's eyes widened in concern. "That's bad, really bad. You need to be careful around her." Antiriel nodded, gripping the steering wheel tighter. "I know. I'm trying to keep things cool, but it's hard when she's around all the time. What about you? What happened at the restaurant?" Tara took a deep breath, her face darkening as she prepared to relay the previous night's events. "You think you had a bad night? Let me tell you what happened at the restaurant." She recounted the heated conversation she had overheard between Emmanuel and Ladarius. Emmanuel was there talking to Ladarius, and it was intense. Ladarius was threatening to blackmail him with some video evidence that could ruin Emmanuel and send Kim to jail. He wants $333 million by election night. And get this, if Emmanuel doesn't pay up, Ladarius is going to the chief with the footage. Antiriel's jaw dropped. "Are you fucking serious? Kim killed that girl? That was her best friend." She pulled the car into a random parking lot, turning to face Tara with a mix of shock and anger. "And she's been around here acting all innocent and shit, putting our lives in danger. I can't believe that bitch." Tara nodded gravely. "Yeah, I recorded the whole thing. I have evidence that I'm giving to the chief so he can drop my charges. Fuck them folks. I'm not risking my freedom. I called the chief and told him what I had. He's coming by the restaurant tonight. Antirio glanced at Tara, her expression still worried. By the way, why did you invite Mary to girls' night? Are you crazy, ho? Tara chuckled softly. Girl, she's not coming. I just wanted to play it cool. No way she's showing up. And where's Michelle? Tara asked. I thought she would be here by now. Antirio paused momentarily and replied, Girl, she took Chris some lunch to his job. Tara's eyes widened and she let out a disbelieving laugh. Food to his job? Wait a minute, girl. Are they fucking? Mary closed the door to her room with a quiet click, her coffee in hand. Once inside, she let out a long, deep breath, draining the tension from her body. It had taken everything in her power to maintain her composure and not throw the scalding hot cup of coffee in Tara's face while she was standing so close. She set her cup on the bedside table and sank onto her bed, her mind racing with thoughts of vengeance. And that bitch had the nerve to invite me out with them tonight, she muttered to herself, shaking her head in disbelief. What a stupid idea. I cannot wait to get even with them funky-ass bitches. Mary's eyes narrowed as she considered her options. The memory of that night was vivid, and her anger was all-consuming. She knew she needed to play it smart, but the temptation to confront them was almost too strong to resist. You know what? She said aloud, her voice dripping with malice. I might just pull up on them tonight. Let's see how they like that shit. About an hour later, Ladarius sat in his home office, plotting his next move. The tension from his recent confrontation with Emmanuel was still fresh in his mind. Just as he was deep in thought, Kesey walked into the room with a skeptical look on her face. You think you slick, huh? She said, crossing her arms. Ladarius looked up, feigning innocence. Girl, what are you talking about? You think you slick, Kesey repeated, her tone more insistent. Either tell me what you're talking about or leave it alone. I was looking at the cameras, and I noticed that our neighbor kept walking back and forth doing the same motion, Kesey explained. I realized you have the cameras looping. Ladarius's eyes narrowed. Cameras looping? Girl, I don't have our cameras looping. He got up and walked to the security system to check the footage. Reviewing the video, he saw the neighbor's repetitive motion and realized something was off. He glanced at the timestamp and noticed it was around the same time he was meeting with Emmanuel. Suspicion prickled at the back of his mind. Quickly, he accessed his encrypted folder containing the original video and noticed that it had been recently downloaded. His heart sank as he realized a particular hard drive had been used. Someone had broken into his home and stolen a copy of the video. The realization hit him hard. Who the fuck could it be? Kesey walked back into the room, her expression demanding an explanation. Well, explain yourself. Ladarius quickly masked his panic and forced a reassuring smile. It was just a glitch in the system, baby. No need to worry. Before Kesey could probe further, Ladarius's phone rang. He saw it was Alex calling. Yo, what's up, Alex? Ladarius answered, trying to sound casual. I'm just reminding you about poker night at my house, Alex chirped. Don't worry about bringing anything except the money you're going to lose. Ladarius chuckled, though his mind was still racing. All right, man, I'll be there. As he hung up, he felt a surge of anger. Ladarius realized he hadn't seen Trey at the meeting with Emmanuel, and Trey was the only person who would be bold enough to break into his house. He sent Trey to break into my house? How could he send him to do that weak-ass shit? The betrayal stung, fueling his rage. What if Kesey was home? What would he have done to her? Damn, Emmanuel! It's like that. Ladarius clenched his fists, his jaw tightening. I will have to watch them very closely tonight without tipping them off. The stakes were higher than ever, and Ladarius couldn't afford any more slip-ups. He needed to play it cool, maintain his composure, and devise a plan to outsmart them before everything spiraled out of control. At around 3 p.m., Michelle pulled up to Chris's job, a determined look on her face. She exited the car, carrying a food bag, and headed inside. Engrossed in his work, Chris looked up in surprise as she entered. Why are you here, Michelle? Chris asked, confusion evident in his tone. Michelle smiled sweetly. I just missed you, baby, and wanted to bring you some food. Hungry and having not eaten since breakfast, Chris took the food bag with a slight nod. Okay, thanks, he said, his voice laced with an attitude. Is there anything else I can help you with? Michelle noticed the sharpness in his tone and raised an eyebrow. Damn, I see why the guys didn't invite you to the poker game. Chris's expression shifted from annoyance to curiosity. Poker game? What poker game? Yes, it's tonight, Michelle replied nonchalantly. And the girls are having dinner over at Tara's. I'm heading there now, Mr. Attitude. Chris, still irritated, scoffed. Well, I'm fine with not going to the poker night. Too much dick-grabbing going on for me, so fuck 'em. Michelle rolled her eyes, but couldn't help but smirk. You know, Chris, you need to work on your attitude. Maybe that's why you weren't invited. Chris sighed, taking a bite of the food Michelle had brought. Whatever, just enjoy your dinner at Tara's. I'll be fine. Michelle shook her head and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, which irritated the fuck out of Chris. The evening air was crisp as the women arrived at Tara's place. The lights inside cast a warm, inviting glow through the large windows, promising an evening of camaraderie and conversation. Olivia and Antiriel were the first to arrive, stepping into the cozy yet elegant setting. Tara greeted them with a smile, leading them to a beautifully set table in a secluded corner of the restaurant. The three women exchanged pleasantries, their laughter echoing softly in the intimate space. Don't you love the atmosphere in this place, Antiriel? Olivia says. Next to arrive were Michelle and Kesey, their chatter filling the air as they walked in. This place looks amazing, Tara, Kesey remarked, eyes scanning the sophisticated decor. Thanks, Kesey. Glad you could make it, Tara responded warmly, guiding them to the table where Olivia and Antiriel were already seated. As everyone was getting comfortable, the door opened again and Ashley entered, her usual vibrant energy lighting up the room. Hey, ladies, she called out, going over to the table. The women welcomed her with smiles and greetings, the atmosphere growing more animated. I had to drop Jason off at Alex's house, that's why I'm late, Ashley says to everyone. The door to the restaurant opened again, and Kim walked in, slightly breathless from hurrying. Antiriel and Tara exchanged a quick, knowing glance as Kim approached, the weight of what they knew adding an undercurrent of tension to their expressions. Sorry, I'm late. You guys, I had some last-minute campaign stuff to do, everyone, Kim said, her voice cheerful but tinged with a genuine apology. She took a moment to greet each woman individually, her smile warm and engaging. No problem, Kim, Tara replied, her tone even though her eyes flickered with the effort to maintain her composure. Antiriel nodded in agreement, trying to keep her face neutral. As Kim took her seat, the conversation continued, but there was an undeniable shift in the atmosphere. Tara and Antiriel could feel the weight of their shared secret pressing down on them, making it difficult to engage in the lighthearted banter around the table fully. As the evening progressed, the women continued their lively conversation. Antiriel took a sip of her wine, then turned her attention to Kim. So Kim, how has life been with this election? It must be crazy for you. Kim nodded, a weary smile on her face. Life has been insane. I'm not used to having cameras in my face all the time, following our every move, but I'm adapting. I know my husband will become mayor, and I'm super excited about the changes he'll bring to the city. Tara, sensing an opportunity to probe subtly, leaned forward. Yeah, I believe he will win and clear the streets of all criminals. Ain't that right, Kim? Kim nodded enthusiastically, not fully grasping the underlying meaning in Tara's words. Yes, he's going to fix this city for good. He's got some great plans in place. After watching Tara and Antiriel make subtle, almost mocking remarks to Kim, Michelle had enough. She intervened, her voice sharp. Y'all have had too much to drink, and y'all are saying wild shit. Tara looked at Michelle with a raised eyebrow and a few drinks in. First of all, we grown. And what are you gonna do? Tell Chris what we said? Girl, grow up. Ashley, eyes wide in surprise, turned to Michelle. Chris? You're fucking Chris, Michelle? Michelle shot back without missing a beat. First of all, Ashley, you do not belong at this table because you are still a fucking outsider in my book, you lucky bitch. And at least I'm not dating a man who pays for pussy. She turned to Antiriel next. And you, Antiriel, you need to be worried about your own damn house. Hell, you're living with your enemy, but you're worried about me, bitch. Finally, she turned to Tara. And I know you ain't talking. One false move and you're going to jail, bitch. The room fell silent, shock rippling through the group. Olivia, Kesey, and Kim sat in stunned disbelief at what they were hearing. Michelle stood up from the table, her face flushed with anger. I've had enough of this shit. I'm leaving. Tara shot back immediately. Well, leave then, bitch. Ain't nobody keeping you here. Olivia, trying to defuse the situation, spoke up. Okay now, ladies. Looks like we've had too much to drink, and tempers are getting out of hand. How about we call it a night? Kim nodded in agreement. Yeah, let's call it, ladies. Kesey, still taken aback by the confrontation, added, yeah, it's getting too crazy here, but the food was amazing, Tara. The women gathered their things and headed for the door one by one. Michelle left first, her footsteps echoing down the hall. Olivia, Kesey, and Kim followed, each lost in their thoughts about the explosive end to their evening. Antirial lingered behind as the others left, turning to Tara. Do you need anything while you wait for the chief? Tara shook her head. No, I'm good. Thanks, Antirial. Antirial got into her car and started driving, and got about 15 minutes up the street before she realized she didn't have her phone. But she remembered Tara was waiting on the chief, so she decided to turn around and get it. Emmanuel and Trey pulled up to Alex's house later that evening. Alex greeted them with a grin as they made their way up to the door. Y'all asses are late. The fellas have been here for a while, Alex said, playfully chastising them. They walked through the house to the basement, the room buzzing with the energy of competitive banter and the clinking of ice in glasses. Mario, Jason, and Ladarius were already seated around the poker table, each with a focused look on their face. As Emmanuel and Trey walked in, their eyes met Ladarius's. An unspoken tension hung in the air, but everyone played it cool, masking their true feelings behind forced smiles and nods. Let's get you dealt in, Alex said. They took their seats and the game began in earnest. The first few hands followed the usual mix of banter and bluffing. Between the next round, Mario starts laughing uncontrollably and says, how about Chris and Michelle are fucking? The whole table stops and looks at Mario in shock. You are lying, Jason says. Yeah, Antirial told me that shit. I almost dropped my vape pen on the ground. I was laughing so hard. The whole table could not believe what they were hearing as they burst into laughter. Then, as the cards were being dealt for another round, Ladarius leaned back in his chair and directed a question at Emmanuel. I'm thinking about voting for the other person. The table stops and looks at him crazy. Emmanuel responds with, I mean, if that's how you feel. But I don't give a fuck who you vote for, to be honest. You should have kept that shit to yourself. Then he asks Ladarius, how does it feel being the number 13th PI firm in the state? Once I'm mayor, I can put in some calls and get you to number 1 if you want. Alex chimed in, sensing the tension but steering the conversation back to the game. Y'all asses better be paying attention to this board because I'm taking names. Now raise me, dealer. The room returned to the cards as the dealer followed Alex's instructions. Each player glanced at their cards, weighing their options. One by one, they folded, leaving Alex with the winning hand. Alex grinned as he scooped up his winnings. Told y'all I was taking names. The poker game continued with intense focus, with only the clinking of chips and the soft rustle of cards breaking the silence. After carefully considering their hands, Alex, Mario, and Jason decided to fold early on, leaving Emmanuel, Trey, and Ladarius to face off in a battle of wits and nerve. Trey looks at his shitty hand and decides if he wants to play a mind game with Ladarius. It's your move, men in black. What will you do? Ladarius says to Trey. Trey thinks about it for a split second and decides to fold. I will let you and Emmanuel have this one. Top flight. The atmosphere grew thick with tension as the two men eyed each other, each trying to read the other's tells and intentions. Emmanuel's face was a mask of calm, but his eyes were sharp, scanning Ladarius for any sign of weakness. Ladarius leaned back in his chair, casually tossing a chip into the pot. Raise, he said smoothly, his eyes never leaving Emmanuel. Emmanuel raised an eyebrow, his expression giving nothing away. I'll see your raise and add a little more, he said, pushing a significant stack of chips into the center of the table. The pot was growing, and so was the tension. Ladarius smirked, matching Emmanuel's raise and adding more chips to the pot. Call, he said, his voice steady and confident. Emmanuel's smile was tight. You seem pretty confident, Ladarius. Are you sure you're not overestimating your hand? Ladarius chuckled, a low, dangerous sound. Funny how things turn out. Sometimes you think you've figured it out, and then life deals you a different hand. He then glanced at Jason. Ain't that right, Jason? Jason shifted his focus to Ladarius, confused as to why his name was mentioned. Fuck you. Ladarius turned his attention back to Emmanuel. Life's full of surprises. You have to know how to play them. Emmanuel leaned forward, his gaze fixed on Ladarius. And some surprises can be more dangerous than others, wouldn't you agree? Ladarius met Emmanuel's gaze without flinching. Absolutely. But then again, it's all about how you handle them. The dealer revealed the next card, and the tension ratcheted up another notch. Emmanuel checked his hand and then looked at Ladarius. Your move. Ladarius made the first move, placing his cards face down on the table. I'll stay in, he said, his voice low and steady. Emmanuel followed suit, putting his cards down with a confident grin. Same here. The dealer began to reveal the hands, starting with Ladarius, a strong hand, but not unbeatable. Finally, Emmanuel's cards were revealed, showing a combination that edged out Ladarius's. Emmanuel exhaled slowly, a slight grin emerging on his face. Looks like I won this round. Meanwhile, the last dinner guests were long gone at Tara's restaurant, and Tara was anxiously waiting for the chief to arrive. She paced back and forth near the back door, her mind racing. Suddenly, she heard the front door open, and Mary's familiar voice calling out, "Anybody, are you here?" Still a bit tipsy from the night's drinks, Tara rolled her eyes and walked to the front. "Mary, you came? I didn't think you would show up." Mary stood there, looking slightly out of place. "Yeah, I just wanted to get out of the house." Tara, fueled by alcohol and lingering resentment, gestured for Mary to follow her. "Come on, let's talk in the back." Mary hesitated but followed Tara through the dimly lit restaurant, with her hand on her gun, to the back door where Tara had been waiting for the chief. Tara turned to face Mary, her eyes blazing with anger and frustration. "Girl, you don't remember me, huh? Ever since the day Anterial met Mario, you've been a pain in my ass." Mary looked confused, unable to grasp the intensity of Tara's words. "What are you talking about?" Tara laughed bitterly, the sound echoing off the walls. "It's because of you, bitch, that I'm living like this, but I forgot you can't even remember what happened. Oh, what a dumb bitch you are. You should have stayed dead." Mary's eyes widened in shock as the weight of Tara's words hit her. "What did you just say?" Tara stepped closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "You heard me. It's all your fault. Everything that's happened, it's because of you. And now you're just going to waltz back into our lives like nothing ever happened." After hearing that confession from Tara, Mary was filled with rage. The words echoed in her mind. "I came here on some peaceful shit," Mary spat, her voice trembling with anger, "to see if you had changed, but you have not. You and all those bitches deserve everything that's coming to y'all. You hoes can't do shit right, not even kill me." "Oh, bitch. Now I see that you are jealous. You want her life. She got you, man. She got the money. And she's a mother to your child. Newsflash, you will never be her." "You stupid bitch!" Mary realized what she has done and begins to panic. Fuck! Get a hold of yourself. Grab whatever she has on her and get the fuck out of here now, she says to herself. Tara lays dead on the floor as Mary is in shock, but goes to her body to collect everything she has on her and leaves. Anterial drove up to the back door of Tara's restaurant. As she steps out of her car, she notices Tara's back door is open, as she perceives to walk in and see Tara's body on the ground. A sob escaped her lips, and she rushed over, tears streaming down her face. "Tara, no!" she cried, kneeling beside her friend and gently shaking her. "Please wake up, please!" Desperation overtook her as she tried to drag Tara's body into the restaurant, hoping to find some way to help. She struggled with the weight, her movements frantic and clumsy. Just as she managed to pull Tara halfway through the door, the unmistakable sound of police sirens filled the air. "No, no, no," Anterial whispered, panic setting in. She looked up to see the chief's car, red and blue lights flashing. The chief stepped out, his face stern and his hand on his holster. Freeze! Well, what an explosive chapter that was. You've just listened to another twist in the dark tale of We Hit. If your heart's racing and you're craving more, you know what to do. Smash that like button and hit subscribe. Things are about to get even bloodier, more deceitful, and thrilling. So stay with us and brace yourselves for the next chapter.
Wow.